Well, despite the ridiculous fixture scheduling in Northern Ireland, I've tried to be clever and plan out these episodes. We're back slightly earlier than expected today for a big Europa League game and a huge game in my favourite competition. But after that, the aim is very much to get through the seasons quickly, and the last two Europa League games I've got planned are going to be very tasty. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 144 of this Build a Nation story, Lifting Spirits with me, Daniel. We are back today at the start of October for a game against Copenhagen, a home in the Europa League, one that we probably should win now, but it's still a pretty tricky game. We'll see why in a moment. And then Inverness away in the SPFL Trust Trophy, probably one of the toughest games we'll play in the competition if we are to go all the way and win it. I also wanted to reflect on the fact that you can see at the top of the table, we have got two teams with a perfect record, one that have only dropped 3 points and that was against us. It looks like the big three are delivering again. So lots to look forward to, some transfer news from very late in the window as well. If you're looking forward to it, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. But let's go and have a look at what's been happening since you were last with me. And we'll start with a little bit of transfer news because we left at the end of the Northern Irish window, but we did mention that the English window was still open a day. And although we didn't get the sale we wanted for Neil Kane, none of the other Irish clubs were willing to take him because of his wage demands. Well, Newcastle were. So he's gone there to be a backup. £44,000 a week, by the way. No wonder he couldn't get signed in this country. But fair play to him. He's earning his living. He's getting a very good wage. And he'll go there to be a backup keeper, which, to be fair, he's now probably fourth choice for Northern Ireland, about to be fifth. There's a couple of good young keepers coming through there. So I'm not too worried about that now. And to get 400 grand after signing a better keeper for 120, it's a pretty good deal, isn't it? If we go and have a look at the schedule though, what impact has that had on results? Well, in September, we had generally pretty friendly fixtures, although we almost had one big slip up, but thankfully we managed to avoid it. We started with two cup games at home to lower league sides. We got Belfast Celtic in the League Cup. We beat them 5-0. A red card at 2-0 made it much easier. But Houston, Howard, Smith, Merivale Austin and Dunn got the goals there. Against Ballyclare, a 7-0 victory. Howard got 4, Elliott got 1, Merivale Austin a brace off the bench. Another 7-0 win, this time at Ballymena, struggling side in the Irish Premiership. But an early red card had a big factor again. Merivale Austin got himself 3, 1 for Howard, 1 for Mackenzie, and 2 for Vladimir, the young left winger, who was becoming a very good player. Missalidis is yet to kick a ball, basically. He got injured again on his way back from his other one. And this guy has stepped in and been very good, as you can see. We got a 3-0 win in our first Europa League game at home to Feyenoord. I mean, they were useless first half. They came out after the break and were good, but injuries were the problem from that one for us. Cowan's opener and 2 from Damien Dunn doing the job there. A 4-2 win at Glenavon, which was my real headache in a month, if I'm honest. We were 2-1 down after 55 minutes before Owen Kidd, who had a shocker, got sent off. We then had to take a gamble, so I brought on a tired Cowan and a Scully who was barely fit returning from injury. But yet again, they delivered. Scully got 2, both headers. I've talked about the impact of that before. And Cowan got a late one in stoppage time. So we won 4-2 with 10 men. And then against Larne, a comfortable 3-1 win at the weekend. 1 for Mackenzie, 1 for Damien Dunn. And Chris Houston came off the bench due to the Dunn injury. And he's starting to look a real good player. Already up to 2.5 star. His potential still big. That £1 million is going to be well spent soon. I've got a feeling about that. So let's go and have a look at the squad because there is big news on this front. You can see a couple of them still pending. All 3 of the unhappy players have now ended their unhappiness. We have taken advantage by offering new contracts and we've got loads of others tied down. No release clauses at all, which is brilliant. And it does mean that everyone that we want is basically tied down for 3 years or more. So you can see among them, we've got 4-year deals for Scully and Mackenzie, 3.5-year deals for Cowan and Reid, 3-year deals for the likes of Merivale Austin, Kyle Carr, Damien Dunn already had one, but Jude and Elliott have signed extensions as well. Gash and Stow hopefully soon to follow, and even a couple of the youngsters in Doherty and Kidd have signed a year extension. So really pleased with the position. We look at Linfield as well because in the Europa League they started with a very comprehensive win. albeit it was their easiest fixture, and tonight they've got a trip to Lyon, which will be tougher. They won 4-0 against Slovan Bratislava, and of course some of the stars scored. One of the summer signings, two for Kellyman and Mackie, who we tried to sign in the summer. Kashif Beaton was involved as well. So good to see that they've got a very strong 11 now. Lots of our team from Northern Ireland there, and hopefully they'll continue to go from strength to strength. For us though, the focus is all on the Europa League. Copenhagen at home is a tough game. It's not a loaded league at the moment, Denmark, but they have got a genuine wonder kid in Rasmus Bloom who looks brilliant as a centre forward, midfielder and pretty much everything else. They've also got a 20-year-old who's very good up front, probably as good as anything we've got, and Dennis Deedon, a midfielder who can cover left back, is very good too. The big news for us though is they've got injuries to stars, so that guy on loan from Leeds United is going to be a huge miss, as is the left winger Thompson, who is also a wonder kid. They had two, only one of them is fit. So let's go and get through the tactical meeting, see what 11 we can put out today. The fixture list so far has been pretty friendly, and I don't know if you noticed on that fixture page, our attendances are much improved. The league games against the sort of stragglers in the league, about 1,200-300 now, and that is virtually a doubling of what we had last year. We sold another 50 odd season tickets extra, and some of the other attendances in the league are huge, which I'll show you in a minute. But let's get through our European game before we turn back to domestic attention. And the big news today, Scully is just about fit to play again, but not the full 90. Gavin Reid is touch and go, but I'm going to start him. And then it's just Damien Dunn we've got to make a big decision on, really. Merivale Austin should be back and fit, so he's going to come in from the start. Then Griffiths and Missalidis, who we've barely seen this year. They've both been out since August at least. Griffiths is back and maybe can be on the bench. Missalidis much the same. Both say 45 minutes. We can give them a bit of time now, maybe a bit more on Tuesday. So Griffiths will give the extra few days, but Missalidis I've probably got to get in. He'll replace Kyle Carr on the bench. I think that's the strongest we can be. So this is our 11 for today. Morrison in goal, who's had a pretty good start, 4 appearances, and bar the Glenarvan one, they were all very solid. We've also got Reid and Stowler fullbacks with McKenzie and Smith as centre half. McKenzie has found form, found the goals a few times as well. He is starting ahead of Bird at the minute. Jude and Gash the midfield too. Cowan and Vladimir out wide. And then Merivale Austin behind Scully up front. 3 players not fully fit today. Let's go and fill the rest of the bench because we're allowed 12 changes here, aren't we? Don't know why I was so worried about getting them all on. We're going to get Griffiths on there as well. Kidd and Doherty the final 2. 12 subs picked. Into the game we go. This should be a home win. But with the fitness concerns and the amount of injuries we've had this season, you just never know at the minute. Well, there's a lot of low numbers in that Copenhagen team, so I'm guessing they've got a few more wonder kids in that youth team as well. We have got to bear in mind that they've got a very short bench, but that is due to the fact they've got key injuries, which we saw. And we've said it before, in a head coach with Manchester United, we were nowhere near filling a bench, so I don't think we can read too much into that. Let's go and get through the dressing room though. There is one benefit of Thursday night football being back, and that is my favourite music. I prefer this to the Champions League one. We'll enjoy the moment as it's a pretty sparse crowd here at Windsor Park. Again, very bizarre that in the Champions League we can host games at our own stadium. In the Europa League, a lesser competition, suddenly we have to go to Windsor Park because it's not enough. One of those things must be wrong. I'm not sure which one it is in game. Let's go and get through though to the first half after that lovely view of the stadium that we don't care about. The players are coming out. The teams are looking forward to this one. And surely Lisburn Distillery will come out on top. We've got to get a win in this game. We've got to get through. And with us being in the Champions League most years now, this is going to be an opportunity for us to win a trophy or at least get very far into a competition. With only 2 teams in, we need to make up the coefficient. And Linfield are already 1-0 down, which does not help our cause. 10 minutes gone here, and we've got a corner kick with Vladimir. In-swinger to the back post, Luke Smith's up. Header goes over the bar. A positive start, but nothing doing just yet. We're 25 on the clock. We've had lots of the ball, lots of chances, but not hit the target once, which is a concern, as Merivale Austin cuts in from the left. Always a worry when not many of your first team strikers are fit, as Merivale Austin thunders the woodwork. Again, doesn't hit the target, and it stays 0-0. So we have got a corner kick again on the half-hour mark. We could do with that just to set us off here. It's a long ball cleared downfield, but only as far as Cowan, and it's back into Miles Stow. The difference in performances since the unhappiness has ended as well. It makes such an impact in this game. as Gash gets the ball in behind. Good run from Merivale Austin, 1-on-1. And when he's back to fitness, when Scully's back fit as we saw against Kobenhavn, oh, it makes such a difference. It is so good having the stars back. We know how much of an impact they have on this team. And hopefully it should be job done today, because I don't see Copenhagen having much of a threat. Most of their attacking players are injured. I say that, they've got a throw now in attacking position. Deedon, a midfielder, loses it to Stow. Don't do anything silly, just short to Jude. Mackenzie with the big switch of play. Cowan nods it down for Reed, and now we can counter. Reed over halfway, has support either side. Gives it to Cowan. Inside is an option, but he switches it to Vladimir. Has the overlap from Stow as well. He looks for him. It's a brilliant ball. 4 in the middle if he can find them. It's a great save, but it's back to Jordan Gash. And he nods in with a keeper yet to get back up. It is 2-0. It is game over. And that is a very good first half performance. Zach Williams sent off for Linfield. They're not getting a result tonight. So we'll tell the lads we're happy. We'll get through to the hour mark. And then Reed, Scully and Merivale Austin will all be given a rest. No risk taken today. As Gash puts the cross into the box, nearly said free kick. Merivale Austin gets on the end of the clearance. Chance to carry it down the left. Options in the middle. Scully's one, heads it wide. We'll put that down to rustiness. He saved us against Kopenhagen. He gets a night off now. But so far, so good. There's lots of big results actually in the Europa League here. Lots of 4s and 5-0s going about. As here comes Vladimir and Merivale Austin. Great turn, good effort. Very good save in fairness. Scott clears it out for a throw. Only 5 gone in the second half, but we are dominant. Can Linfield keep that score down in their game? Changes to be made after this one. I don't want to risk the 3 coming back. And maybe it's a chance for us to get Misselidis and Griffiths on. Vladimir's had to play a lot of football as well. I might give him a breather. As the ball's back to Miles Stow. Can we get a third just to make it comfortable? Into the back post to Stephen Cowan. Hits the woodwork. He's kept it in though on the right-hand side. Chance to cross. He's beaten his man inside out. He's headed away as far as Damien Jude. Into the Stow, and I don't think this is going to lead to anything now. Goes back to Mackenzie on halfway. We're still going though, the highlight being shown. Maybe it's not going to peter out. Big switch to Cowan. Third chance to cross it. Scully's in there. So is the man on the left. Vladimir's up. Hedge just wide. It stays 2. I think changes need to be made. Fitness cannot be risked on a night like this, although we can't get a breather from highlights at the minute, so we'll see this one out as well. Gash on the right-hand side of Cowan. 3 in the middle if he can find them. Support from Gash again, but goes inside himself. Through to Mark Scully. It's straight at the goalkeeper. It's a really good effort again. And now we will make those subs. You can see Murphy will come on. Do I go for Morgan Griffiths or do I go for the youngster Houston? Griffiths is going to get his fitness back. Scully will be replaced up front by Howard. Vladimir will be replaced by Misselidis. We'll save the last one 5 or 10 minutes. Just want to get this job done. Still only 2-0 no matter what we say. But we are bringing on some real stars. Howard has been a brilliant signing. Scored goals galore this season. Got player of the month in August. Misselidis will be first choice if he can keep fit. Griffiths is a club legend. Murphy is a good fullback. And Jude's got a free kick, which is tipped wide again. It's a really good performance, this. Jordan Gash is struggling a little. He might be the last man to come off. But for now, let's see the Morgan Griffiths corner. To the back post. Smith is up. Straight at the goalkeeper. Chances raining down on the goal of Copenhagen. At the moment, it's still just 2. A Stow on the left. Challenged by Bloom, the wonder kid. Stow wins it back though. Brilliant work. And he gets it back to Mackenzie. Into Jude. Big ball across to Cowan. He's had a great game. Cross in is overhit. Misselidis will keep it in. Great to see him back. Rabona cross for Howard. Oh my word. That is a lovely treat. Misselidis back. And he's no longer a 6'5" brute. He's a nimble little star. What footwork that is. It's into the box for another goal. Houston will come on as the final sub here. He'll replace Jordan Gash in a moment. As Jude gets the ball to Smith. I want to make this a big one for the goal difference. Sampdoria 8 up at Dinamo Kiev. My word. Here comes Tommy Murphy. Into Gash. Last contribution. Up to Howard. Heads over the bar. And that will be it. 3-0. Changes made. And now we get the youngster on again. It's brilliant. 3 minutes of stoppage time played. The last sub has just taken it out of the game a bit. But a 3-0 win yet again. A very good start to our Europa League group. And now we're in a strong position to get through. So the attention will turn to my favourite competition. Well, it's fitness test time ahead of Tuesday's game, but I had to stop off at this message because for the first time, Morgan Hassin, the Northern Ireland #1, is showing some interest in joining us permanently. It would be a huge increase to our transfer and wage value, but he is a homegrown in the nation keeper, and he is by far the best we could get, so keep your eyes peeled on that one. For now though, fitness tests, there's plenty of them, and we're going to try and reintegrate some of these players. I'm wary that at the weekend we've got a game with lots of players on international duty, and I've got some going away with Northern Ireland this week, so we're going to have to manage the squad pretty well. But quickly, as I mentioned a bit earlier in the episode, there has been a real upturn in attendances this year. We mentioned for us it's nearly doubled, but across the league it has been huge. Linfield's average attendance includes a sellout of 14,800. Larne have got an average attendance that is 98% of their capacity. They've sold out 3 of their 4 games, and you can see the averages across the league are far higher than they were. So that big shoot up to 3-star reputation as a league has definitely made a difference, and us and Linfield being more reputable clubs seems to have helped a bit too. So I'm intrigued to see how that continues. As you can see, Linfield are going big on the wage front this year. Larne, to be fair, are going pretty big too. But what we are seeing as a result of that, I guess, and these figures you've got here, is that there is a bit more of a gulf now between the top 4 and the rest, which may be a problem later down the line. But to have 4 strong clubs is something in itself, so let's go and get through to the Inverness game. We've got big changes to make. I've got to manage this carefully, so I'll be back in a minute once I've picked my team. Right then, we've gone for a mix of trying to stay as strong as possible because the 2 cup games coming up are ones we can rest people for. We've also probably got to factor in which players aren't here at the weekend because of international duty. And of course, we've got some inconvenient suspensions and players returning from injury. So Griffiths and Missalidis, I've decided again, off the bench today, they can play a bit longer in a lower intensity game at the weekend. We've got Bird at left back because both of the first 2 choices are suspended. That's a hangover from last year's final. And then the rest of the side, I've gone strong. We've got the likes of Mackenzie in, Morrison in, they're going to be away at the weekend. Elliott starts ahead of Cowan because he's coming with us for Northern Ireland duty soon. We started the Nations League well, by the way, there, 4 points out of 6. And then Scully is the other one I've decided to give a rest to, just because he's played 3 games, 2 starts, 1 off the bench since returning from injury, and I don't want to push him too hard. So he'll be on the bench today. He's there if we need him. And Howard, to be fair, has scored bucket loads anyway. So our 11 in full sees quite a few changes. Bird is in at left back for Stow. Dunn comes in midfield for Damien Jude, who is another who's quite fatigued with a heavy match load. Howard in up front for Scully. Merivale Austin does start, but Elliott comes in on the right-hand side for Cowan. So I make it 4 changes from the Thursday night game. A few more on the bench as well, with youngsters like Houston and Kidd. Real backup options like Dykes and Griffiths. Inverness v Distillery, a tough game in a trophy, but this side is pretty strong, and I'd hope it can do the job. Well, here we go then. Mark Fotheringham is the man in charge of Inverness, and they've brought in Tommy Conway up front, who I presume is the one that starts at Bristol City. We'll have a quick look at that before we start. We've got the lads motivated. It is Tommy Conway up front, so let's just see how it goes. We're into the first half, a few of the lads inspired going forward, and hopefully the goals will rain down on us, because Inverness are a good side. I'd expect us to win this one. Well, it's been a quiet 9 minutes to start, but we're back as Inverness take a goal kick from out wide, or a free kick, sorry, from their own box. Smith gets the ball down for Gash, and he'll go long over the top. Vladimir will chase it on the left. What a revelation he's been. That worldwide scouting definitely having an impact. And as I say that, what a cross he's put in, by the way. That is sensational. Pinpoint to the back post, Elliott arriving to nod in. And as he joins us with Northern Ireland in a couple of days, he won't play 90 tonight because I want to rest him a bit. We have got a couple of key injuries with Northern Ireland, so people like him will be more important this window. If he can score goals and come in form, then I think we're going to be very happy. 25 gone, we're dominating the stats. I mean, Inverness, they are a good championship side in this save, but we're going to be able to put them to the sword. And even for the SPFL now, we're going to be the strongest side by the looks, as Damien Dunn has got a free kick just inside their half. Big ball in towards Howard, who can't win it. And I will say for the side tonight, there's not a huge amount of height. Probably just Smith and Merivale Austin, as Elliott skipped past a couple there. It's a brilliant save. The rebound was offside, but really good work from the Northern Irishman. Couple of signings just coming to the fore now as they settle in. Howard being one, Elliott being another. Those that joined in January and February time, they're really settled in now, as we've got a corner kick with Vladimir up to Smith at the back post. Well dealt with, and Boyd clears downfield. But Inverness have left no one forward, and that means Elliott can surge with it. challenged by Boyd but keeps possession, headed away as far as Merivale Austin, who again will probably just give an hour or so to. Bit harder in this one, you only get 3 subs, but Vladimir crosses to Merivale Austin, header off the bar, Howard on the rebound, 2-0, and just before half time, that should be tie over. What a result, what a first half performance. Oh, I'm back enjoying myself now. I was gutted last episode because of the unhappiness and falling into the Europa League, but it's almost turned out to be a positive in the end, as Mackenzie heads away the free kick. Vladimir can't get there, Sutar picks it up, finds Otto, Sutar again, Preston up to Conway. We know he's still got ability, even if he's not got his physical stats. There's a long ball forward from Reed, and it's dealt with by Otto, but Elliott might nick in. What a first half he's had. He looks like a man possessed. Gets past his man. Howard's in the middle. Elliott cuts back, keeps the ball in the Howard. Brilliant work. Absolutely brilliant work. And when you consider, compared to a couple of years ago, we've now got Scully and Merivale Austin as our front two. I mean, this is a level of squad we haven't had before. And those youngsters we gambled on in the summer are improving so quickly now because we've got great facilities and great coaches. And it's starting to look like a bloodbath because Merivale Austin has scored another. And at half-time, it's going to be 4-0. It does mean that Griffiths and Misselidis will be able to get another half an hour. It does mean we can rest Paul Elliott too. But what a performance. 4-0 at the break. And I'm very happy with that. Well, there we go. 58 minutes in. There's not much going on. I just want to see when the first Northern Ireland game is. Oh, it's not till Saturday, so I'll leave Paul Elliott on because he's having a game of his life. Merivale Austin will get a rest. He'll be replaced by Griffiths. Misselidis will come on for Vladimir. Good to build them up again with another half hour. And then it's either Luke Smith or Jordan Gash that comes off. Do I bring on young Halston or Owen Kidd? I think we're going to go... Oh, we've got to go Halston in Scotland, haven't we? He can come on for Jordan Gash and he'll play in the middle there. Not sure which way they're better, so we'll just do it like that. Half an hour to go, 4-0 up. I would imagine this game will just peter out now. Though as I say that, we're back with a throw on the right for Inverness. Big ball into Boyd at the back post and heads just over. Bit of a warning side there. We cannot afford to get complacent. We're going to praise the lads. We're going to try and get a little bit of a reaction out of them because we don't want Inverness to have too many chances. As Duncan come forward again to Preston. Reed does really well to Elliott though. He releases Griffiths who steps on the ball. Dunn gives it away after a sliding challenge. Through ball to Montgomery and he's put it wide. I'm not really sure how he's missed that. A couple of chances for Inverness there. And I'm glad at this point that we're 4 up as Elliott again. What a game he's having. Reed releases him. Elliott goes in. Chips to the back post to Misselidis. First goal as a permanent player at Distillery. He's finally back fit. Elliott the man again to create it. But lovely to see him score. If we can get him back fit as well, we can get Griffiths fit to make a difference off the bench. This could be a really big year. Smith heads over. It's 5-0. And we're starting to look like our old selves again. The morale's back, the spirit's back, and certainly the performances and the star players are too. Free kick here on the edge of the box, going to be taken by Morgan Griffiths. Go on, put the cherry on the cake, Morgan. Curls it round the wall, hits the woodwork. Almost. 3 assists and a goal for Paul Elliott. A perfect 10 performance for him, and a perfect 5 for Lisburn Distillery. 2 big wins, 2 big performances, and I'm far happier than at the end of the last episode. Well, to be fair, the draw has worked out pretty perfectly here because we've got another tough tie against St Johnstone, or tough by the competition standards. And that one is going to be in the next episode because it's come next to Lille just 2 days after the Europa League game. And it means we're going to have to rotate the squad fully and see everyone. They've also got the star young Northern Irish keeper that we're keeping an eye on. So that's going to be plenty of fun. So we will be back for Lille and St Johnstone in the middle of December. Then Linfield and Bournemouth at the end of January as well as deadline day. But this is turning into a big season. Linfield seem to have taken that step to catch us up domestically with a really big squad of good players. And I'm hoping that they'll be able to deliver in Europe too, to make up for the fact that Larne aren't there. But a perfect episode, a perfect response. All those contracts tied down now, which is great news too. So if you're looking forward to the rest of the season and you did enjoy this one, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. The big final push to get to the top of the game is here. If you want to make sure you don't miss the rest of it, then subscribe and turn that notification bell on. But the big news is that we're back on track with Distillery, and some of our young stars are starting to look like great signings.